Hey everyone, so I did a video on automatic transmission fluid replacement in a 2014 Toyota RAV4, and I didn't like the video. I did my video, I uploaded it, I looked at it, I'm like, it was just too sloppy. And I looked at some videos out there that are pretty good, and that's what I want to do, because the videos are going to be out there forever, basically, right? So I want to have some good quality videos. And, what I've done so far is okay, but, you're not going to get any better unless you keep doing them, right? So, as far as transmission fluid goes, when to replace it, not just in a Toyota, but any vehicle. And usually a good benchmark, in my opinion, I've been doing this since I was 19, so I'm 59 now, so do the math on that one. But, I've always done transmission fluid on my own vehicles every 30, 40,000 miles. My old blue Tundra sitting here, it's got 177,000 on it. It's an '05. It's got 177,000 miles on it. I've done it 3 times. We can check it right now, and it's nice and bright pink. Now, they actually say don't replace that fluid, ever. It's like it's life's blood. Don't replace it. Now, I kind of agree and don't agree with that. I mean, there's no issues with these transmissions. I've never actually heard of one failing, and people work the hell out of these trucks, and they're still on the road now, a lot of them. Not as many in the Northeast because of rust, but the engines and transmissions is rock solid. But that truck, I don't really work it. I get a trailer hitch on it. The guy I bought it from, I bought it used, and it had 43,000 miles on it. It's my everyday runner since I bought it in 2007, and just up until a couple of years ago, I bought a Toyota Camry, which I use this truck basically for work. But I got a 2018 Camry, which I've already done the fluid in that once. It's got 72,000 miles on it now. And I did the transmission fluid at around 60,000 miles. And the fluid was just starting to turn dark. So the question is, when do you replace it? Now, you can go out and do Google searches and all that. And I've always recommended it every 30, 40,000 miles. That's what I do on my vehicles. I haven't had an issue. But I drive the way I drive, I mean, I don't, I put it in reverse, I come to a complete stop, then I go neutral and then drive. But a lot of people don't do that. They're always in a hurry all the time. And over time, it takes its toll on your transmission and the rest of your vehicle if you're always in a hurry and late. So I just drove a customer's car out this morning. It was a 2014 RAV4, and I took a peek and took some pictures of the service recommendations. Now, it says at 30,000 miles, you inspect all the following: transmission fluid, ball joints, dust covers, brake lines and hoses, engine coolant, all the normal stuff. But you get down to the bottom, additional maintenance items for special operating conditions. Tighten nuts and bolts on chassis and body. Well, yeah, that could take a while. I mean, if they're loose, yeah, you want to tighten them. But it says, driving while towing using a car top carrier or heavy vehicle loading, they recommend you to replace your rear differential fluid, transfer case oil, tighten nuts and bolts on chassis. Now, only up until 60,000 miles, it says to replace the automatic transmission fluid, front differential fluid, rear differential, four-wheel drive, replace transfer case fluid, tighten all nuts and bolts. That's, driving on dirt roads, driving while towing using a car top carrier or heavy loading. Now, you move on and you go up to same thing. What is it? No, it's, 100,000 miles. Had a spam call to take care of. So, around 90,000 miles, they say do the same thing. Change the transmission fluid. Now, then they go up into inspect. All right, so 120,000 miles, replace the automatic transmission fluid, front differential oil. that's under severe conditions or extra load. Now, what they never say is to replace the filter. Now, a lot of these transmissions, and I just reached out to a buddy of mine. He was a Toyota tech for 35 years. I said, hey, Mike, do you guys drain and refill on those transmissions? Did you hook a exchange machine up to them? Did you replace the filters? He says, no, just drain and refill. He said 90% of them had a wire mesh screen filter where, he goes, I'd clean them out occasionally, but that's all you needed to do. They weren't really a fiber type element. So on my car, I didn't change the filter in it. On my truck, I didn't change the filter in it. And the shop I'm in right now, there was a guy here, Pat, he was here for 20 years and he did transmission repairs. He did rebuilds. And after I took the place over and rented it, he passed away about 4 years after, but he'd always come in and we'd chat and stuff. And so he got telling me that, you change a transmission fluid in an older, higher mileage vehicle that's never had it done. He goes, what happens is you take the pan down, you replace the filter. So the filter, like a fiber filter, now if that's all restricted, and now you get a brand new one in there, and it's all, no restriction from crap in there, clean the magnets all out, you exchange all the fluid out, and then you fill it with new fluid. All of a sudden, okay, the pump is all this pressure available now, and it goes right to the clutch packs, and then it takes them out the rest of the way. And he goes, that's when you end up with a problem. So, if your fluid's really dirty and you got higher mileage and you've gotten that far, you might not want to change it, because a lot of that blackness in the fluid is actually friction material. And that's part of the reason too. You drain that out and then all of a sudden it doesn't move. And I actually had that happen. I was working at an independent before I started here, and they advertised a power flush, which it's not a flush. It's not like pressurized. Any decent ones are. It just exchanges the old fluid for new. You put the brand new fluid in one tank and it cycles it through and it puts the old fluid in another tank. But they gave me an F-150. It had 150,000 miles on it. And they said, I'll flush the fluid out. I said, why are we doing that? Well, because the guy says his transmission shifting funny. I'm like, okay, do you really think we got to do this? And they're like, well, just do it because that's what the customer wants. So then they ended up having me do that, and I took the pan down, took the filter out, put a new filter in, flushed it all out, exchanged all the fluid out, and lo and behold, it barely moved. The truck had to be basically pushed out the shop. I needed help to get it out of the shop, which is too bad, because now they had to tell him that, well, yeah, your truck doesn't move now. You owe us $250 or whatever for the transmission fluid exchange, but now you need a reman transmission. So, looking at a bill like that with a vehicle that has that many miles on it, I forget what year it was and how old it was, but that's not good policy. I mean, what the guy should have been told is, hey, look, what you got going on there, well, we can't guarantee a good outcome with this. I mean, you're going to have to understand that this truck might not move. And if it does, great, but it is a possibility. And if at that point in time, the guy made the decision, go ahead and do it, then it didn't move, then basically it would be kind of on him. But the transmission is actually a big hydraulic pump. It generates, think about what it's going to do. The fluid gets really hot, and that fluid gets old, it's harder for it to transfer the heat out to the cooler in the radiator. So, if you have a truck, you work it, you use it to plow, landscape or whatever, yeah, you might want to do that fluid once a year. I mean, that might seem a little bit too much, but you know, if you plow with your truck and you don't put it in low range, then changing the transmission fluid is really not going to help you. But so, you know, I'm going to make some videos on that transmission fluid replacement. Back with Honda, I worked there for a total of 20 years. And Honda did not want you to hook any kind of exchange equipment up to their transmissions. They wanted you to fill it, you know, drain it, refill it, cycle all the solenoids, go through all the gear patterns, then drain it again. Then they wanted you to refill it, do that again until it looked clean. Now, if you do that early enough on, if you do that every 30,000 miles, the fluid's always going to look good. And you're going to drive normal. You can't expect a lot. As soon as the light turns green, you're mad at it, and it turns red, you slam on the brakes, so you run into every pothole. Not that a pothole has anything to do with your transmission, but overall, the way your personality is bestowed onto your car, I don't know if it's the right word to use, but it makes a big difference in the longevity of the vehicle. You know, a lot of people, they'll lease a new car and get rid of it in 3 years. I mean, that's the time, like, that's how I buy a car. I don't lease cars. That's not for me. I put too many miles on. But if leasing's for you, great. You get a new car every 3 years, but that's the time, the best, in my opinion, to buy a good used car is get one that's 2-3 years old, lease turn in. The only thing is, you know, lease is like a long-term rental. I mean, when you get a rental car, you go on vacation, you don't really care, right? You accidentally throw it in parkway, you're doing 30, oops, you know. I don't know. I mean, if you can get a lease car that's turned in and it's certified and you get an extended warranty on it through the manufacturer, then go for it. But you know, as far as the transmission fluid would be crucial. If it's been turned in at 30,000 miles, hey, is the transmission fluid been done? No, they don't recommend it for 100,000 miles. Well, it's nice that the manufacturer can recommend that, but when 100,000 miles rolls around, it's going to be way out of warranty. And I actually know one of my customers' daughter, she bought a brand new Subaru Outback, and they roped her in with a service agreement, and they said, you got to bring it to us for all the maintenance. I didn't see the car. I never saw the car. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call, and she basically said that she had 90,000 miles on her Subaru and the transmission was gone. And they told her it was going to be $4,000 to replace it. And I said, well, I thought you had the bumper to bumper, all the bells and whistles warranty. She goes, well, I thought I did too. But they made up some excuse that because I put the wrong tires on it, she said, I put 2 new tires on it, and the other one, because one of them blew out, and the tread wasn't that much lower on the old tires, and I replaced them like 3 days later. I got the remaining 2 tires, and she had them do that work because she was so scared to go anywhere else to have it worked on. She didn't want to void the warranty, but guess what? It happened anyway. So her stepfather and I talked, and he kind of fought it, and finally he got them to warranty the transmission. They didn't put a new one in, a reman one. They got a used one for it. But, you know, I mean, extended warranties are good and bad. I mean, basically it's an insurance policy. That's all it is. So it's kind of like, you know, lightning hits your house, or you don't have flood insurance or whatever. That's your, you know, whatever, acts of God. But, that's how it works. And, you know, I just, I've been doing this a long time. I look at these videos and it's great. I mean, I could put a video out there and then I hear from the peanut gallery that, oh, you're supposed to change the filter, or why are you doing it that way? And it's like, I haven't lost a transmission yet. I haven't had to put one in any of my vehicles. So anyway, so give me your thoughts on your experiences with having your transmission fluid replaced or not replaced. And I'd love to hear your comments, as long as they're positive, you know, if you have some. Anyway, till next time, if you see a little circle that says Boulet's Garage here that pops up in the end, just give it a tap and you'll subscribe to me. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. See ya.